Hi everybody, my name is Znahar. This is my new friend Laurent. So nice to have you in our
Nice to
wellness
be
and
here
beauty
with you,
club.
Heaven.
Laurent can tell briefly about himself, but that's maybe what I would like to do first. Why don't you tell us a couple of words about yourself, and then like why you're here, and then
Yeah. So I'm in Lviv with you, Ivan. We just met yesterday night, and we had a great impression together. You for me for my marketing field, and you because I have some problem with sugar, and we decided to be here together to talk about that. So if you want to know just a little bit more about me, I'm uh, travel since 2011 now, so it's 6 years
6 years?
now on the road.
Envy you so much. That's
Yes, but
good.
I just need my computer and an internet connection to work when I travel. And I'm doing basically some marketing stuff. So I'm teaching or I'm helping small entrepreneurs to market themselves online and to promote themselves online. And I don't need a specific place to do that. So I like travels and I can travel everywhere in the world. And for me, it's a good job and a good opportunity to meet some people like you.
And thank you. And I really want to start by saying that I already get some very good advice from Laurent. I'm not saying it lightly because uh, just yesterday I actually announced that I'm not doing any more individual medical or health consults. I've been doing this for a while, but now I'm going to focus more on some things that are more effective, like group seminars, and also will do this through other means, like for example recording videos and working through my pupils and through my students. But I have no experience in that, and so I really benefited from some very useful advice from Laurent. So thank you for that. I trust you fully, and I will. I have a good feeling that this will work well. But now I want to come back to your question, and so talk a little bit about that.
Since many years, I stopped smoking 10 years ago, and since this date, I get lost, no, get lost, get weight.
Yes.
Yes, get
You
weight.
gain some
Yes, I
weight,
gained
yeah?
some weight, and I changed my addiction from tobacco to sugar. So for me, it's not really good. And as you see me now, I had probably 20 more kilos than that a few years ago. And I try to reduce my consumption of sugar, but for me, it's really difficult. And when I see some crystallized sugar, not sugar, fruits, etc., but crystallized sugar, I cannot resist, and I have to eat this sugar. So it's really addictive, and I can't stop it. And when you gave me some good advice to stop that, probably I know some of them, but the most important part is even if you know something, if you do not put it in action or do not practice, it doesn't matter, it doesn't count.
And also, what I think when I'm thinking about this from my perspective, when you give me some advice on marketing, for example, you said, don't put the text, lots of text in your post, but then use images. Put some of the most important text on the image, and then if you still have some text, put it on top of there. Use videos. And some like ask for testimonials, switch to English language because it's more popular, more people know it if you want to do it internationally. And all of this advice is amazing, but at the same time, because before running, I have to learn to walk. I'm not as comfortable yet. And so the same, I'm sure it's now I have better understanding how you must feel when I say do this, do that, because understanding the principles is not enough. It's actually putting them in practice.
Exactly.
But first, I think we both have to understand me principles of marketing, you principles of healthy food. So why don't we go then talking a little bit about food? Because Laurent and me, we just went to a supermarket where Laurent frequents. We spent there about 20 minutes just walking around, picking different foods. I saw selections. I then I have much better understanding of what Laurent will be cooking from that food at home, and I think I'm now more prepared to give him some information. I wouldn't call it even advice because I think he is the best advisor to himself. very clever. You know, he can figure out. But this is things don't work always in life in a direct way. Sometimes we have our walls and misconceptions that not seen to other people, only to ourselves. So sometimes we choose a different road that doesn't look logical to other people. So I'm very careful about jumping and throwing some advice. I maybe better will be telling you some stories, and I have this story to tell about because I also lost a lot of weight, and I had a sugar addiction, the same thing, you know, like years ago, and I overcame it, and maybe it will be useful to know how I did it, and then I can help you to do this.
So tell your story.
I was overweight. I had to lose about 25 up to 30 kilos. So I was at my peak, like maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, that was my peak. I was about probably 25 to 30 kilos heavier than now. And I couldn't stop eating. You know, after having an evening meal, I still would wake up at 1 a.m., go to the fridge, pick up the leftovers of pizza, eat unless I finished that all, I wouldn't return back. And then I felt terrible the next morning. My stomach would hurt. And I still didn't feel satisfied. And I thought that something, I'm a crazy guy because something like I cannot control myself. And so educating myself and trying many times things that didn't work, what helped me. Okay. And so now practical things. When I looked at the things that you picked in the supermarket, and when you told me what you picking, what your choices before, I think you are already on the right path.
Yes, I know. Yes, I make move, but I'm not really satisfied with what I have now. But yes, for sure, 4 months ago, as I told you, it was really totally different, and I put some mess in my bag on my packet. I don't know if it says that on my packet, and I tried to remove that, but I know I have to be more conscious about what I put in my.
So you consider rice is not good food in your
rice? Rice for me, it's a good food because in my country, in Reunion Island, we eat a lot of rice. So for me, it's the base of my alimentation. Or even if it's not good, I don't know if it's good or not. But if it's not good, I think I will continue to eat some rice because it's in my brain, in my genetic, inside of me. And
well, then I have some good news for you because I actually consider rice to be one of the best products that you picked up in the supermarket.
Okay, so perfect.
It's not the rice; it's how you're gonna eat it. But let me ask you quick. By the way, I'm gonna be asking some side questions here and there. Have you considered eating brown rice instead of white rice? Is it something that you would enjoy, or some people don't like it? You know?
Honestly, I prefer white rice, but for the main reason, the main reason is because we cook white rice in Reunion Island. I don't know the difference, to be honest, between the white and brown. So
very simple difference. Brown rice is a whole food, and white rice is a processed food. So basically, what happens, rice is in more natural form a brown kernel. And then when they cut off that kernel using special techniques, they basically just brush it off, it becomes white. So they take something that is on the top of that kernel and then make it white. So that's what brown and white rice is.
So just a question about that, because when I cook the rice, I used to wash it, the white rice to wash it, and to put it, to cook it after that. For the brown rice, is it the same thing, the same process? Okay.
So I at some point I ate quite a lot of brown rice when I was living in Canada. Just but to be honest, I like the taste of white rice better. And there are still ways to eat white rice that is healthier and not as fattening. So you can work around. You don't have to eat brown rice, but I just wanted to find out because it's one possibility. Okay. So I think rice is a good selection.
Good.
If I have a question, if you just have you remember we picked some fish. There was some fish, there was some salmon fish. There was tuna, some lake fish in some cans. There was also olive oil. There was sparkling mineral water. You picked up some bananas. You picked up a bag of rice. You picked up few peaches. They were pretty hard still, I find. And then you also what else did you have there? And a bar of chocolate
bar
and
of
some
chocolate,
and you also had some cookies. Some
Yes,
cookies with
cookies.
some cream inside of them. So that and plus some chicken. You also had chicken breast
Yes,
without
because I
skin,
cook,
without
yes.
nothing, right? So if you would look like in that big sort of selection of food that you have there, tell me like how much sugar actually, and if you would have to break them into sugar, fat, and protein, percentage wise, can you tell me there was that much sugar, that much protein, and that much fat there?
For the sugar, for
Just
sure.
guess,
Yes.
just
Okay.
guess.
For guess. Okay.
Number.
So the number. No, the number.
Approximately. Say 10% or maybe 50% of sugar there. Like
You
what's
mean
your
in
estimate?
each elements? Okay. So in the bar of chocolate, I think.
No, initially, like in total. In
total?
that food
Wow.
selection, I had approximately 5% of protein, 10% of carbs, and maybe 50%. Like the rest was fat. You know. So what do you
Okay,
think you had there? Rough estimate. Don't worry to
Yes,
be incorrect.
probably 40 to 50% sugar, but
Okay.
sugar, crystallized sugar, and also sugar on.
Doesn't
other
matter.
forms.
Carbohydrates in general. 40 to
Yes.
50%.
Yes,
You think?
I
Okay.
think, yes, 40 to 50.
We're talking calorie wise though, because that's the proper way to do this. But anyway, please continue.
Okay, but I'm not really expert on that
I know,
domain,
I know, but let's try.
it's
So I
just
feel-
yes, it's just in my brain or imagination.
Actually,
so let's say
it's not a bad estimate.
Okay,
Actually,
so
how
40
much
to
fat
30
and how much protein?
Fat, not so much. I think probably 15, 20, and
Okay,
yes,
and then the rest of that is
yeah.
protein. Okay, my rough estimate of that would be that there would probably be about 20%, maybe 15% coming from protein,
Okay.
calorie wise. That's how we calculate calories.
Okay.
15, probably 15%. I think more than 50% that would be fat. And I think the rest, of course, like 35% would be from carbohydrates, which is
Okay.
from sugar would be mainly only about 5%.
Really?
Yeah, because there are more complex carbohydrates in rice.
Wow.
So the most carbohydrate food there was rice, some bananas, but sugar actually it's not that much.
Okay, so I thought it was 50%, that it's just 5%.
So can I then maybe give you the summary first, and then we're going to talk about like what I think is the issue and how it should be addressed. So when you eat something sweet, for example, you eat you drink your apple juice with lots of sugar there, or you eat a chocolate bar, or you eat even white rice, cooked white rice, your body reacts with pumping some insulin. That's what called glycemic response. So your body reacts with insulin to carbohydrates. If you have protein on top of carbohydrates, that insulin response is going to be much bigger. So that's a physiological fact. Okay. So by eating sugars, by eating carbohydrates, and plus having protein, for example, lean chicken breast is protein, so that will also increase it. And if that insulin stays high, anything that you put in your body, including the fat, will not go into the organs, but will be stored as fat. Okay, so this is your body telling your basically your system to start storing things. And here two things happen that you wouldn't like them. Okay, the first thing is obviously that you're gonna gain some weight, because now let's say you ate the chocolate bar that, by the way, it has about 50% of calories coming from sugar, but also 50% of calories coming from fat.
Okay.
So you do have significant amount. So that sugar, but mainly that fat will be stored in the fat tissue rather than satisfy you and your organs to feel full. And the second outcome of that, all that going into your fat tissue, is that you still feel hungry, because your brain didn't receive enough nutrients, and including glucose, and your inner organs like heart and kidneys and liver didn't receive, and muscles. You are a big, strong man. Okay, so your muscles need a lot of food, and for muscles it could be fat or it could be glucose, but your brain needs only glucose for feeding. So your craving for sugar is not all unhealthy. It's your brain telling you that you actually do need that glucose. but you don't take the sugar itself. You don't eat pure sugar. You eat it with a lot of other things. And like let's say, like the chocolate bar that has some fat there. You also have some other food that has a lot of fat, and that's why it makes you hungry, but also storing your food.
Yeah.
So the answer to that is very simple. You have to learn to eat, keeping your insulin as low as possible. Okay.
Yeah.
And then how you do that? There are several ways. Okay. So first one, so remember we were talking about that I wanted to understand some principles.
Yes, of course.
So the first principle is the easy one. Okay. You just try to eat whole foods.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to vegetables and fruits, like to plant foods. And what I mean by whole foods is as little processed as possible. So brown rice is one. If you process it, becomes white rice. You have some, let's say, you have potatoes.
Yeah.
You can cook them, and then you can make potato chips out of them. So this is more processed over that way. So this is one. Principle that to remember. Okay. Another principle is that
how many principles do you have like that?
The mains will be maybe like 2 or 3 or 4, something like that. So we'll name them and then okay. So the second one, I would suggest using lots of fiber in your diet to slow absorption of sugar, carbohydrates. That would keep it. That would help you to keep the insulin at a low level. Okay, because 100 grams of sugar, if you would drink it, let's say in a liter of water or juice, okay, and the same 100 grams of sugar, if you would put them, let's say some shredded carrots and apples, and then you would put the sugar there, so lots of fiber here, okay, and you would eat the same 100 grams of sugar, would have a completely different response in your body. You drink the 100 grams of sugar, your insulin goes up like this. And everything that you eat with that sugar, like fat, for example, will just go into the fat tissue. Okay, not status, and including the sugar. Okay, but if you eat it like with lots of fiber, then it will be absorbed slowly. It will keep you satiated much longer. You will not feel hungry, and your insulin will stay low, and all of this nutrition will come to your brain. So the critical thing is to find not just healthy, but this would be a third principle, to find something healthy way to, but also it has to be tasty, because there's no point to be sort of stuffing yourself with something that you don't like, and then at the end just dream about the potato chips or something, or chocolate bar. And so it will take a bit of practice, but you will get this, because now understanding the principles, you will make some selections, you will evaluate them, and then you will just do step by step, and then if you have any questions.
I have one actually. The principle of the fiber, I understand it perfectly, but another one I heard: if you eat slowly, your brain. Okay,
you guys are famous in France, by the way, like for this. I know that, and that's I watched some French people. I've been in France only once, and actually, through the airport. But I watched some French people eating in Lviv, in restaurants, and I heard about that before. So you do eat very slow.
Yeah.
You have long meals, talking
yes,
to people.
But it takes a lot of time to. If you take more time to eat, your brain tells you don't have to eat anymore or more.
Yes. And so what is your question? Yes, of course.
Yes, it was my question. If I eat slowly, is it better for me to eat slowly than? Of course, I know the answer, but to eat something really quickly, and after that I have to eat something else and continue and continue and continue. So
for most part, yes, but sometimes the answer would be no. Okay. And for example, if you had a strenuous workout, okay, you went to the gym and you really pushed yourself, you did some anaerobic exercise that has a huge requirements for like the breaks, like 10 times, 20 times more glucose than aerobic exercise, and then you come home and you feel completely hungry, like you sort of starving, you want to eat something, and then at that time you probably won't be able to control yourself. So after that, you just do this within the reason. It really, your muscles need the sugar, your brain needs the sugar. Then, so if you do eat something healthy, you don't really control your speed. Just eat it. Yeah. But overall,
Okay.
But
perfect.
I have just the simple thing, when you will notice this, as happened in my case. I hope the same thing will happen to you. I don't rush anymore. I used to come from work And I was so angry. I was just like, give me my food. I'm so angry. You know, it doesn't happen anymore. I'm so patient now with food because of the low glycemic index for food. I'm always stay satiated.
Yeah.
I don't have these cravings. You know, I can stay without food for a long time, even for a day. It's not a big deal anymore. And so you really enjoy actually eating now slow.
So repeat this term again, satiety. I know the term
Which
in
term?
French.
Which term?
Satiety? No.
Satiating. It means satisfying.
Yes, I know, but I know the term in French, but I didn't know it in English, so I just want to catch it now.
Yeah. Okay.
And just another things, we are talking a lot now about food and habits about food. Sometimes we can go in another direction, but I think
I'm sorry. What direction?
you told us about the four principles, and
Yeah.
I ask you a question between the second and the third one. So sometimes we can go to another direction when we discuss together.
Of course. Yeah.
But I will give you an advice, and for them too, it's probably a good idea that you put these four main area on a PDF or on a file, a Word, and after that you can translate it in PDF.
Okay.
And the main principle like that, they can follow the main advice and take a look also to the video after that and have more information. But
Can I just clarify? You mean like
Yes.
making a separate document with
Yes.
the principles
Yes,
that I
of course.
described here?
Yes.
Just put them in a bullet form.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay,
that's
so
right.
we
The
will do
bullet
that.
form and also just a little explanation on the bottom of the bullet.
Okay.
And after that, they can go. You can also put the timing of the videos like that. They can go directly.
So actually, to put the text on the video, you mean?
No, not on
No,
the
not
video.
the
On a
video.
separate file, you have the form and principle, and on the video, maybe we are at 12 minutes and 30 seconds, and you
Yeah.
can put the timing just.
When they have to take the principle from
Yes.
there, right? And then just put the principles in PDF.
Yeah.
And to do what with the PDF? Do you mind
The
me
PDF, you have to put it with the video after that. So you just say you can also download the PDF
Okay,
with
so
the
video plus some PDF
Yes.
there. Okay. Thank you. See, I'm getting all the advice right now. That's how it works, like, you know.
Yes, advice is from you, advice is from me, and the world is working like that. We have to share our knowledge
Okay.
to be better, to be the best person we can be, and also to share our message to the whole world. So I know a little bit about marketing. You know a little bit about alimentation and how to get better in better shape. So when we share our advice together, we make the world a better place.
I want to just ask you a question. Did I confuse you with my message? I wasn't sure how clear it was.
No, for me, yes.
Was it useful, by the way?
It's useful, it's clear. The only things the main thing I have to how to say that, to take off from that is really I need to take action, because you have a lot of information
Yes.
on the internet. You can have some free information, some paid information, but if you don't take action, if you don't take the information you have and put it in implementation, you won't have results from that. So it's up to you now. You have, for the moment, you have two main principles. You will have two other principles, but if you don't take action and you don't use them,
I think I can now understand how you feel, because I explained how I feel inside following your advice on marketing. I feel that I trust what you say.
Mm-hmm.
I feel a little bit confused because I don't know what to do. This is something, I'm in new territory, okay?
Yeah.
But I trust you, so I remember the advice and I'm gonna take some action.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure because there are some nuances that I have to follow, but then I hope I can get back to you, and
Of
then
course.
when I tried something and I shouldn't be afraid to make mistakes.
No.
And then if I do reach some point, I can talk to you again, or maybe you can give me another advice. And that's what probably how you feel right now. You feel like, okay,
Yes.
there's something sounds maybe reasonable, but I'm not sure exactly what he's talking here about and how to implement that. What do I do this? How do I increase this or decrease this glycemic index of food? How do I pick the whole food if I want this chocolate? Like, for example, like tell me, right? So that's, and then I encourage you, if you have, just, you please call me,
Yeah.
or you write on Facebook, or just send me direct message. I will be happy to follow up with you on that. And good luck, and it's just pleasure in any
Yes.
way working with you. Do you have any
Thank
other
you,
questions?
Ivan.
So it was,
But you tell us about 4 main principles. We have already 2. What are the 2 other ones? Quickly.
when I said for, like, I don't
Okay.
want to put them in, like, if you want my quick snapshot of the house.
Yes.
So this is, I based my snapshot. These were specific about food.
Yeah.
But let's maybe step backward and look in the whole picture, okay? So in my view, there are 4 main principles, 4 pillars of health.
Yeah.
Nutrition is one of them.
Okay.
Physical activity is another one of them. Proper recovery, including sleep, is the third one of them. And mind work is the fourth. So these are the main principles. Okay.
Good.
We were talking now about the nutrition.
Yeah.
And nutrition, I didn't count particularly how many principles are there, but I tried not to make them too many. Okay, so what if a very general advice, and again, I don't tell people what to do in their life. They make choices. They decide they're gonna be vegetarian, non-vegetarian. They're gonna eat this or they're gonna eat that. I'm just telling them what I think is the easiest way to get healthy food. If you want your food to be healthy, first, I do suggest plant food, or lots of plant food. I am a vegan for 10 years approximately now, and I follow but I don't tell people what to do. They make their own choices. But I think the healthiest food is probably plant food. That's one thing. Whole food, meaning that least processing, the better. The third one is low fat content, and the high carbohydrate content of food is better. Low fat content is also better. And then lots of live food. What I mean by live food is the food that has still natural enzymes and all, like preserved. So like lots of fresh food. Could be fruits, vegetables. I juice a lot. And in general, these would be the principles, but then low glycemic index food. That's what we were discussing. And then, of course, the food has to be tasty, okay? And I, of course, advise the best food would be probably from the wilderness. I enjoy forest berries. I enjoy, the best honeys from the area, like in the fields. I do enjoy juicing wild herbs. If that's not available for some reason, I prefer homegrown or like small farm grown produce that without as little as possible addition, like pesticides, etc., or unnatural nutrition for the plants. So like good soil, and supermarket food, of course, is sort of usually, because often they exhaust the soil and they just put a lot of stimulants for the plants to grow quickly, because this is usually less quality. Although even in the supermarket, there are much healthier choices and healthier. But it's not just what you pick, what the food is, all combining the food. As I explained to you, the same 100 grams of sugar in a juice is going to be very different than 100 grams of sugar in a sort of, it's like in some pudding with carrots or something. So these would be general principles. But again, how do you implement in your particular life? Because you already have some preconceptions. And so I suggest you start slowly, experiment. And my goal with you would be that you feel satisfied with your food, that it's nice tasting, that you can share this with friends, that it's not that you don't feel hungry all the time, and then it's not super expensive, just regular food, price wise, but also that is healthy at the same time.
So perfect. Thank you for all this great advice, Ivan. And it's really a pleasure. It was a pleasure to meet you and to be with you here now.
The pleasure is really mine, Laurent.
And if I can,
of course,
I tried to translate something from French to English for all the viewers, and I think it will benefit them. It's something like you can have all the knowledge of the world. If you do not implement, you won't have results. But the images behind that is, let me think a few seconds. I really have to translate it. If information was a solution, we will be always billionaires with beautiful bodies. And as you can see, it's not the case. So you have to do something with information. Do not let the information on the video implement. Did you understand what I say?
If you repeat the last part
Okay,
about
so
the last part, I didn't.
the first part, the wolf thing is if information is the solution. So what we are talking
Yes,
about
okay.
now, if information is the solution,
Yes.
we will be all billionaires
Yes.
or millionaires, as you want, with beautiful bodies. So as you can see, for the moment, it's not the case. So the solution is not just information. Actually.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Okay. And but let me also, if I may,
Yeah.
I want to say something about you calling your body not beautiful body, because I disagree with you.
Okay, yes, of
Okay?
course. We
Can I
will have
say
a
something?
discussion about that.
We were talking
yeah.
about the 4 pillars. Mind work is
Yeah.
one of them. Okay. I encourage you, if you want to just give yourself some doubt about that, thinking that you're, because I think it's important thing to love yourself and to love the body.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, maybe this is also loving that you're critical of yourself, that you want to have a better body, stronger body, because you do feel that there's it doesn't do what you want it to do. So then, but still a little bit of perspective on different.
Yes, of course. Thank you for all of that, Ivan. Again.
Merci beaucoup.
Good one. Oh shit, I forgot in Ukrainian, so. Yeah.
Дякую. We say
Yes,
дякую.
дякую. Yes, of course.
Прошу.
Yes, I know this word, but.
Прошу.
now I
Of course
have-
you know.
Yeah.
Of course. Прошу.
Okay.